Well, hi. I'm Robert Noel. Welcome to the Guitar.
The Groovy. The Groovy. Yes. This is your Groovy lesson. This may be a Groovy Part 1 lesson. I love the word groovy. Comes from my 60s growing up as a kid to a teenager in the Woodstock era, the hippie era. You can kind of see what it's done to me, right? But groovy's a powerful word. I come up with different words. I started writing a book, I don't know if I'll ever finish, called Groovy. But groovy can mean a lot of things, and we can have these other words that come from groovy as groovitine, groovilacious, groovilating, the groovosphere. There's all just kinds of words that we can add on to groovism. So groovy, groove, the groove, getting in the groove, feeling the groove. Well, Groovy Part 1, I'm talking about why should you play guitar? Why should you practice? Well, I'd like to tell you, the basic is when you get into learning guitar and whatever your goals are, whatever you want to attain, there's a certain mindset you get into that takes you away from the world. You might have all kinds of problems. You might have all kinds of blues. It might be really sad. Or you might be happy-go-lucky and not a care in the world. But practicing guitar, learning to practice, takes you out of the norm of life. And it allows you to get into making sounds and learning techniques and skills. And if you understand this, you can learn better. If you can learn to get in the groove, the learning groove. How do I get better at learning? How do I get better at attaining my goals? Well, I'd like to throw a few other words at you. I use these with my students all the time. Because to get into the groove, sometimes we have to go on an adventure. An adventure, just like you see in movies, okay? Or when you read books. You're traveling, you're on an adventure to make discoveries, to learn, to increase your knowledge. Maybe it's your skills and techniques. You're going on an adventure that's not just mental, but it's also physical. You're on a mental and a physical. And let me add in psychological, the sciences. So it can get real deep. So why get into all this? Because it adds another way of thinking and appreciating what you're doing. Because when you're learning guitar, you have to learn how to practice better. There can be roads that you take in your adventure, a path that you take, and it goes nowhere maybe. Or maybe it goes a little while and then you're not really getting any better at that, maybe that technique you're working on, that chord you're working on, getting your fingers on the chords, the scales, learning your notes, learning your intervals. You're going down that path, but there's other paths you can take to how you study it. Maybe it's playing blind and not looking, looking and not looking. Maybe it's looking in a mirror while you're playing, okay? There can be all kinds of paths you can go down, and you can explore. There's another great word. You're on an exploration. So I said adventures, but what about this word called journey? You're on a journey. You're on an adventure. A journey into the unknown. But maybe a journey into the known, a journey into discovering and learning about yourself and how you learn better and how you don't learn better. What happens when you just don't care, you just want to do something else and you want to put the guitar away? What happens to you psychologically, mentally? So we have the physical part. Maybe there's physical limitations. Maybe you've only got 2 fingers and you want to learn to play. I've seen guys, gals play with 1 finger. That's all they had. I seen a video where this person plays with their feet. They don't have no hands, and they play great. So is there a handicap? But maybe the handicap isn't physical. Maybe your handicap is mental. There's always a way to learn. There's always an adventure and a journey to put into music and learning this instrument. Well, you learn to tune. You learn how to strike the strings with a guitar pick or use your fingers on your right hand. And how, hopefully, you learn the skills that I teach in my videos about finger placement and playing the orthodox way, the correct way to do things. So maybe someday you learn the wrong way, and maybe the wrong way is the right way. But there's a way that the human mind works, the brain, the neurology. If you get into neurology, study that a little bit, we have little, well, maybe big parts of our brain that have to do with memorizing, have to do with learning and remembering, and we have to massage, or we have to enlighten, make these areas of our mind work. And once they do, they can learn better. Or they might be bad habits that you have that are causing issues. So there's both sides of this. But if you really want to get good at learning guitar, or any instrument for that matter, you have to find out what works for you and what doesn't. What adventure you can go on that may help you, or exploration, or mission. I'm on a mission, like my band was called Blues Mission for many years. Robert Noel Blues Mission. I was on a mission. I was evangelizing the blues, bringing my audience into what I was doing and making them feel bad and then make them feel good, and make them sad and then make them laugh and smile. The power of the music. I found that out pretty early, that I could do things like that. Just in how I play a note, a song, what I sing, I can make that person that is happy, I can bring them down, make them feel maybe sad, feel my sadness, feel my emotions. Or I can take that really, really happy person, and on the other side, I can make them feel down, or I can make them feel up. I have the power to do that. That's what's so great about being able to work with someone's emotions and being able, with my music, the way I bend a string or vibrato or strum a chord, that I can affect them that way. It's really wonderful. Talking about the neurology, maybe researching, doing a little study on how the mind works. How does our brain work to memorize, to learn, to imprint? We know there's different parts of the brain that react to certain things. So the mental part and the physical part, how to bring that together in practicing, the science of neurology, the psychology of practicing. How do I get my brain, my mindfulness, to do good on the journeys and do good on the adventures, so that I can learn better and work to attain my goals? This is important. This is really important, because we're on explorations. We're on missions to make discoveries, to go on more and more journeys. Journeys that work to help us attain our goals, to have fun with the guitar. So we're seeking knowledge and education. We want to get better at it. We want to learn how to hear better, how to listen better. How we learn, it's different with every person. In all the years of my teaching, every student I teach learns differently. We have different minds. We've developed in certain ways, different ways than other people have. We all have issues. The issues might be the ADHD or the autism, or it can be that I have a physical handicap or a mental handicap. I always believe where there's a will, there's a way. But we have to go on journeys. We should go on journeys and explorations, adventures. I like this word. Can we go on a musical safari? I love that. A safari, to look at things, to investigate things. And with the internet and being online, it's easy to type in something and search and learn something. So you don't want to go down a path that doesn't help you for a long time. You want to try to go down paths that are enlightening, that are helping you. So it's learning when, hey, I'm not ready for this yet. I'll do this again some other time. But right now I'll work with this idea. So you try to find what works for you and what doesn't work. We're all different. So that was my idea of the groovy. The groovy is to get you to start to think groovy. Because if you're going to groovelate, or you're going to be groovalacious, this is great, because that's going to cause you to feel good about your learning. about how you're learning and going, wow, this is great. To take you out of that doldrum, that blues you might be in, and take you away from the world in your little world of learning. And it's so cool to be in that world. It's special for musicians and artists and writers, all the arts, okay? But we escape with our guitars, with our music. It's wonderful. So when you do go on journeys and you learn to do all this stuff, eventually you're going to do performances. You're going to do performances for yourself. How about performances for your girlfriend or your boyfriend? Or how about your children? Playing songs for the kids. Singing songs. Singing at the campfire. Doing songs. Learning to play songs because you want to play in a band. And you want to make some extra money. Or a wedding band. Or some kind of specialty band. Or maybe it's a rock band. A folk band. A funky band. Whatever kind of band. A blues band. It's going to be an adventure for you. You're going to make discoveries. You're going to go on journeys. And hopefully you learn when you're going on certain journeys, that's not the way to go. I have to change up and go down another road because this one isn't getting me where I want to be. So let's change and see if we can try another road that works better. How great is it that we can escape with our guitar and we can go off into our world, our own place. And then we can bring it to work with other musicians or other people that are playing. Or maybe it's just a jam session. Hey, we're going to go jam. And here we are. Now we're on the journey of jamming, on a mission to jam. How great can that be? We're on a mission to work with other people. Maybe it's a mission to write songs. Maybe I want to write songs. Maybe I want to make millions of dollars because I've really got good lyrics. I'm good, or I'm getting better at it, and I got to put music to it and be able to express my songs. Well, there you go. Maybe you do want to make money in an occupation of teaching guitar or playing in a band or performing as a solo artist or writing songs or doing jingles in the studio or whatever it may be. There are ways to make income, and there are ways just to plain have fun, just an escape. My escape is my music and my guitar. How great is that? At any age. Children, you can get indoctrinated early, and that can work out for you. That can be good. And you can condition yourself to good practice habits really early. That's how we get these child prodigies, I believe, is the indoctrination and early conditioning into music and learning, going on those adventures and discoveries and journeys, right? But it can be at any time in life, in midlife, and you can be old, you can be ancient, and go, wow, I've always wanted to do this, and it's an escape for you. It's good physically, for your arthritis, your hands, and it's good mentally for you. Music's great mentally because it opens up those parts of the brain and mind to keep you thinking. And it's not just the physical part, but it's the mental part. So I do think maybe you can live longer and you can get your mind reacting, and the physical and mental part has to be good for you. I would say so. So this lesson's on the Groovy part 1. I may have a part 2, and I may go on to, more parts, many parts maybe of the Groovy. But this was my first one because I wanted to express this on the verge of beginning to open up the Patreon Guitar Zone. This is where you can sign in or subscribe, and you can go on a mission with me at different levels, okay? And it could be really great. So I'm on missions. I'm on adventures. We all should be. But knowing those words, keeping those words that I keep repeating, that's groovy. So you see how groovy is important? It's just not that the guitar looks groovy or whatever. It's the philosophy of groovy, the psychology of groovy, the neurology of groovy hearing, groovy vision, groovy senses, smell, taste, groovy love. You see where I'm going with groovy? And when you can bring it all to this, to the guitar and the music, then you are in that wonderful place I call Groovy Land. You're in the world of groovy. What can you do with it? Just about anything. So cheer up. There's a lot to learn, but you can do it groovy. You can do it at your own pace, your own speed. And if you want to get real fast at it and real quick and learn, that's up to you. There's all different ways to do it. So explore. Go on explorations, because that's where you make discoveries. You're going to explore groovy. You're going to explore how to learn, how to go on adventures and journeys. All right, here you go. You've got my thoughts, and I heart if you can go on a groovy mission, a groovy adventure, a groovy journey, a groovy safari. There's nothing you can't do.